What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Breakthrough. In today's episode, I sit down with Aaron Muncy of Bounty Painting, and we just hammer out strategy. He just started his business. He found a general contractor to start subbing out work from, but wants to expand, wants to grow. Just an awesome business breakthrough of really just the questions, the trials, the tribulations of starting your business. But again, as always, we hammer out the foundational principles that I believe anyone at any stage could use as a refresher or learn a new strategy from. So I hope you get a lot out of this business breakthrough, and it starts right now. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. I've got Aaron here with Bounty Painting. We just briefly chatted. So Aaron, you own a painting business and you want to start your business off in a different direction. You want to kind of get some employees. How long have you been in the business?
October 24th.
October 24th. So that was literally
September 24th.
I was about to say, all right, a little over 30 days. Cool, man. So what got you into the painting business? What have you done? What were you doing before that?
My wife is an amazing decorator. My house looks like a Nordstrom's ad all the time, which is great. But if I ever lose my eyesight, I'm in trouble, because if I come home, I don't know where the furniture is going to be, and I don't know what it's going to be.
That's funny.
She loves to paint, and I always had a desk job, but I've also done a bunch of stuff in the trades on the side.
Okay.
And I've done a bunch of big side projects this year and made pretty good money doing it. And we decided maybe we should look at doing this full time. So I talked to a buddy of mine who's a contractor does restorations, flood damage, water damage, fire damage, your pipes freeze. You're in Florida, so you don't know about that.
No, I don't.
They go in and restore everything. And he said, "You're not going to believe this, but about 4 months ago, we lost our main painters." And he had enough work to keep us busy for a year, two of us. So I said, all right. And things just lined up, and I quit my job. That was Labor Day weekend, and I quit my job September 24th. And here I am. I got more work than I know what to do with. And you're always talking about niching down. I only do interior and cabinets.
There you go.
That's all I do.
I love it. I love it. And keep it that way. So I like that after 30 days, you're already like, hey, I need to hire some help. Typically, the infatuation stage of making the money doesn't wear out by this time. So it's good to hear that you're thinking in the right direction already.
I appreciate that. My biggest questions for you is, and I haven't heard anybody ask about it, is cash flow. Because to start up, there was, painting's a fairly low barrier to entry.
Yeah,
however,
very low.
I still had to buy ladders, and I had to buy a new sprayer, and I had to do some things. Where do you need to be at before you can hire somebody? As
Typically,
far as cash in the bank.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So for me, the first thing is I financed everything with Sherwin-Williams, so I have pretty decent credit. If that's not an option for you, the cash flow after you buy that initial startup materials everything's proportional from that point forward, right? So for example, if you sell a $5,000 job, right now you're the employee of your company. Aaron is the project manager right now. Okay. And you are getting paid.
CFO, CEO, COO.
Yeah. You're wearing all the hats, right? So, when you sell a $5,000 job, whatever you do with that money, like if you were a corporation, right, that $5,000 would get allocated through all the different departments, right? So that corporation would take that $5,000 and put maybe 5% of it in marketing, and then they would give whatever the salary portion of that job would go to the project manager and all that stuff. But when we work by ourselves, we don't have that discipline. We're not going to put it in all those little buckets, So initially, you are getting paid right now. You're just taking it in the form of profit, unless you've pretty much had an agreement and a handshake with yourself and say, okay, Aaron, we're going to pay you, $1,000 this week, right? So essentially, you're already making the money that you need to hire somebody, because there's a certain cap that's going to occur when you hire somebody. You're not going to pay over a certain amount. Um, the purpose of hiring somebody is a couple things. Number one, it's to get yourself out of the production, because you're not as effective when you're on the job. It's just that's a bleeding business if the owner of the business is doing all the work. So it's more of a survival technique to get people into your business. That's number one. But number two, what it'll allow you to do is to do more work. So if you bring on two people, you might be able to get two jobs done in a week instead of one. Now, this stuff. I'm not telling you anything you
Right.
don't know. But where I'm getting at in terms of cash flow is the jobs that you're taking usually produce cash flow on a weekly basis if you're working for homeowners. You're working for homeowners, right?
Actually, my biggest customer is this restoration company. So I'm working for homeowners, but through them. And I am doing some other stuff. I'm doing
And
some
what is their
cabinet
what is their
stuff.
pay cycle? What is
Their
it
pay
net?
cycle is 30 days, but it's typically 2 weeks.
Yeah, you should
They say
negotiate.
30 days.
I would
Okay.
negotiate that if you could, and say, look, man, I can't just be like, look, I can't grow my business on a net 30. I'm still so early in this. I don't have the cash flow. I won't be able to hire. So I would negotiate that and see if they can pay you upon completion, which if they value your work ethic, they'll make that happen, because they're getting, you know,
Right.
and also I wouldn't rely on them anymore. Like I would thank them internally for like giving you the leg up, but you can't survive when you're getting a piece of the whole. What is the
Right.
what is the pricing arrangement that they've given you? I mean, how are you guys coming up with the price? Like, let's say they have you paint cabinets. Like, do they come up with the price, or do you price it?
It's all insurance based.
Oh,
And
never mind.
here's a different thing. None of the homes that I've worked on so far for them, the customers want a, uh, none of them wanted a remodel. So you come in and you paint, and the pay scale I'm getting there is in the Minneapolis market. Top end is this, low end is this, insurance pays in the middle.
Right.
So this is really steady work. It's constant work, and I haven't had to advertise it all, and it's good money. But when I bid a job directly to a customer, I bid it for more. I bid for cabinets for more, and I'm not the highest in the area by any stretch. However, it's a fair price. It's a good value. It's a good experience that I'm selling.
It's doing the job for what it needs to do right now. The
Right.
smart move is to slowly, gradually build this residential side of your business that is not insurance based, because
Correct.
if you're bringing up cash flow, I've never had an issue with cash flow, and I don't know many people that do. And then when you said insurance and that 30, you're not going to be able to negotiate that. It's not up to the restoration company anyway, so
No, but
it,
they pay me whether they've been paid or not.
oh, gotcha. Okay. So in any case, I would just say this, the residential side in terms of growing your business is going to be under, you're going to grow a strong, sustainable business when you can rely on your own resources. And that's in all phases of business, whether it's the production side by having your own employees, which you discussed is super important, with the marketing side, with generating your own business, and of course the sales side is your own. So that's easy. But when you can generate your own business and then provide your own production, that is when you are in a position of complete like control. And anytime you can have that level of control in business is a good thing, because right now there's a lot of uncertainty here. I mean, if you're having some doubts on if you can afford to hire an employee, you're in a position that you shouldn't be in. So let's talk about maybe like what it would look like for you in
It's
terms of
not, it's
Go ahead.
not if I can afford to. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's not
No,
if I
that's
can
okay. Well,
afford
let's
to.
talk about it. We can
Where
let's
do I
let's narrow
need?
that down.
I mean, if I'm paying somebody just for, let's say, round numbers, $10 an hour, that's 400 a week. It costs you what, 500 a week? Because you pay workman's comp.
Right. Workers'
unemployment,
comp and
all
taxes.
that money.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so it costs you 500 a week, but they get paid every week. Your employee doesn't get paid when you get paid. Your employee doesn't get paid only when you get deposits. How much should you have in the bank? Is there a percentage? Is there,
Well, the thing about it is in the painting business, you can finance the paint for 30 days if you go through Sherwin-Williams. Are you
and
interested? Have you said,
I do. They've
okay.
been great.
So paint can wait, employees can't. So at the end of the day, like that's a hedge against not being able to pay your employees because you could pay them weekly and not pay for your paint until you have the check from the job. So again, like being in the painting business and having the leverage of utilizing that credit line is going to avoid any sort of hiccups when it comes to pay. Like for example, if well, let me ask you this: what is the revenue you're doing monthly with these jobs? How much monthly are you able to produce, not sell, produce? Like from in 30 days, how much money did you bring in?
11 grand
Eleven
in
thousand
my
dollars.
first 30 days.
Okay, in your first 30 days. Now, were you responsible to purchase the materials with that 11 grand?
Yes.
Okay, and out of the month, how much have you spent on materials? I'm not talking
Under a
about layer.
thousand.
I'm not talking about ladders. I'm not talking about sprayers. I'm just talking
Right. I
about
get it. Consumable,
like paint.
consumable tape and paper and
Yeah,
paint. 1,000 bucks.
$1,000. Okay, that leaves you 10 grand. And then you probably bought a sprayer and you probably bought some ladders. That's 1,000. No, that's probably like 2 grand, maybe about
Yep.
2 grand. Okay.
Yep.
So in your first month, you've brought in $8,000. Next month, if you did the same thing, it would be 10,000 because you don't have to buy those
Right.
initial startup materials again. Okay. Now, if you were to bring on somebody full time, okay, would you do the same amount of work or would you do more work?
At first, probably the same amount of work because I'm huge, and this is one of the things that attracted me to your podcast. I'm huge on processes,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that they're trained up in how I want my culture to be,
Right. But the
how
ultimate
I want
reason
things
why
done.
we hire
Right.
somebody is to have them produce more work, like to make us
Correct.
more efficient. Maybe in that
Correct.
1 month, because you have that one other guy working with you every day, maybe you get one more job done. Would you agree that
Oh,
maybe that
absolutely.
could
I
be
would
that could be
absolutely agree with
possible?
that.
Right.
I would
So
absolutely
so
agree with
let's
that.
say after his first month of training, you're probably taking your time, but that next month comes around. Now this individual helps you make 12,000. So let's say you make $2,000 more. Okay, they're making up, they're creating their own salary by their production, you know?
Right.
So like it's never a matter of like, hey, I have this amount of money, this fixed amount of money, and I have to hire somebody. How much is that? Is how much the question isn't how much is that going to cost me? The question is how much is that going to make me?
Right. I get it.
Right. So when you narrow down the numbers that way, it's an easy decision. You can certainly afford someone even now, even if you didn't even bring in any more money, because initially the goal is to replace yourself. But once you hit that 2 or 3 member team, then eventually you're going to hit the tipping point, and it's going to be you're going to be completely removed from the production. But does that kind of answer that question? I mean, was that in alignment with what you were wanting to know?
Yes, and that's all stuff that I've already known and have been overthinking for a while.
Nah, don't overthink
I
it.
guess I guess
Yeah,
biggest issue for myself is I've managed employees before. I've never
sure.
had my own,
Yeah.
and it's a different stress level.
Well, you have a
It's a
lot of
different,
leverage, Aaron. You have a ton of
right,
leverage. You know why? Because you have predictability with this restoration company right now.
right,
So at the very least, the biggest fear many people have with employees is that they won't have enough work to keep them busy, and they aren't able to provide for them, right? I mean, that's a big fear
right,
for some people. Dude, you're already way ahead of the game because at the very least, in your back pocket, you have this restoration company shooting you jobs that
right.
that you're not, so right now, honestly,
Oh,
Aaron, you
I'm
can
super blessed, super blessed. I could hire an
absolutely
employee, put them on this job, or put them on all their jobs and still make a profit from that.
still make a profit. So the answer of hiring should be yesterday. But in
Okay,
terms of
okay,
in terms of forward thinking strategy, you have got to learn how to generate your own business.
right,
You've got to look at how much money you're making. And like I said, the infatuation stage is a real thing. Okay. The infatuation stage says, holy smokes, I'm making more money than I've ever made. I don't want to get rid of it. I want to stack it up, you know.
Right.
But you know, that's detrimental. It is. And I've seen so many people just stay there for so long. And then at the end, they're like, holy smokes, I'm exhausted. I'm tired of doing this. I didn't plan properly. So don't be infatuated with 10,000 a month. You need to utilize those resources. Money is just a resource. That's all it is. It's a resource that you as a business owner have to be refined in learning how to allocate in the right areas. And you only learn that by experience. You need to take the 10,000 and you're going to hire. So what would you pay this individual to work alongside you and learn the trade that you're doing every day? What would be that individual's weekly allocation of resources?
Uh, Zero experience, probably $15 to $20 an hour.
Zero experience, $15 to $20 an hour. Now, what about somebody with experience?
Well, on a podcast I listened to yesterday, you made the comment, depending on the years of experience, they usually want a buck and a quarter an hour for every year they've got experience. So it
Okay,
depends.
so that's
And people who are looking for a job, when you're looking for employees, it's new to the area or already looking for a job.
right. Yeah, so we want to make
So,
sure that we're being attractive, like, when it comes to this. Let me
correct.
tell you what you could afford based on what you told me. Okay, so if you're averaging
Okay.
$10,000 a month, okay, you can afford, to be honest, $3,500 a month for somebody to work alongside you. Now, if somebody works 40 hours a week, that's 160 hours for the month. Let's see what that looks like. That's 2187. Okay, so you're right in alignment. I think the lowest you should pay is about $20 an hour. Okay, and then you have workers' comp and you have taxes. Have you set
Right.
up something to help you facilitate workers' comp and taxes yet?
My insurance guy, I do all my own accounting. I've got a tax lawyer that has done a great job setting me up, and it's
Okay,
really pretty easy, and I'm great with a spreadsheet.
beautiful.
But as far as payroll and all that, I actually, listening to your podcast, looked into Gusto, and
Good.
it seems like it's a no-brainer.
No brainer, easy. And I like that you're you're doing your own accounting. What I want to hear is that you're doing your own job costing, and these numbers like you can spit them out verbatim, or you can reference a spreadsheet, because that's what's
Right.
going to make you a more refined decision maker, right? So like if
Right.
exactly what that amount is that you're bringing in weekly, you could do this simple math and say, you know what could I afford and what could I expect? So when you bring on that employee, you might say, okay, well, right now at this pace, we're hitting 10,000 a week. Now, when I bring in this individual, I should be able to bring in 12,000 a week. That's going to offset their cost. Like I said, if your cost is 3,500 and now we're doing 12,000 a week at this moment with you working alone, right? You're only bringing
No,
in
I've got my wife with
10,000.
me,
Well, I'm good. Well, your wife's working
but yeah,
alongside you.
yeah. So my
Yeah, but
production is there, but I'd like her to be not here.
right, not here. But I'm just saying, are you paying her?
No,
Okay, so I'm just saying, like an employee, I'm gonna put her out of the equation here because I want to make sure we get the hard
I
numbers.
got it.
But right now, with you working, I'm gonna say alone again, just for the
I
analogy
got it.
here.
I
But
got
with
it. I
you,
got it.
yeah, with you working alone, okay, and you brought in somebody right now. If you guys did the same exact work, you're bringing in $6,500 a month, okay, at a $10,000 gross, okay. Now, if you bring in somebody else and you identify that this individual helps you achieve just a little more work, and now you're bringing in $12,000 a month, okay. The secret's all in the numbers, man. When we subtract that $3,500 salary that they're getting for the month, then that puts us at 12,500 or 12,000 minus 3,500. That puts us at 8,500. So they have offset $2,000 worth of their own salary. Okay. And
Right.
now, but you got to remember, your sweat equity is really hard to calculate, right? Your effort in the business is really hard to calculate. So you might think, well, I'm still having to pay, but yes, but you're doing less work.
No, I get that. I completely get that. It frees
Right.
me up I don't have to work 40, 50 hours a week on a
You're not
job
working
site
40, 50
and
hours a week.
then
So
do the
yes,
accounting. and
and then
then
do
do
the
the
accounting, and
advertising.
then yeah,
Right.
and my suggestion is, Aaron, like, pay for an accountant, man. Unless you've been to an accounting school and you're staying up to date on the tax code and all the changes, it's
Oh,
worth
I
it.
pay for my tax guy. My tax guy looks over my stuff quarterly.
Okay, good. So what do you mean? You're just doing your bookkeeping or you're doing your accounting?
Bookkeeping, book.
Oh,
All
okay.
I'm doing is my bookkeeping, and yes, I know they're two different things.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So the bookkeeping, yeah, you could do that. I just say, like, when it comes to accounting, man, like, let the pros do it, because they know the ins and outs that
There's too much to know.
us normal people don't know. So but no, that's good, man. So in terms of the hiring strategy, man, like you said, you haven't brought anyone on yet. You haven't like hired an employee. You know by now that Gusto facilitates the workers' comp and the employer taxes
Correct.
and all that legal stuff. So it really just comes down time, my friend, for you to really, like, acquire the help. Do you have any questions in that regard?
Um, so looking for somebody to go into the trades, and I know that you promote. I don't think Monster's really a thing anymore.
Indeed.
Indeed, in
Yeah.
different places like that. Is it better to do that or go with somebody you know, or a referral from a friend or
I'm all
somebody?
about being resourceful, man. Don't get me wrong. I've been in business for 5 years. I've exhausted a lot of my resources. And actually, the thing about it is, I've hired some great help that has been a reference of one of my employees. I said, hey, do you know anyone that would want to work with us? But I don't compromise my process because of that. And that's all that I care about, is that you've clearly
Right.
defined a process of how you hire someone. Even at your stage right now, working alone, you can create a high level process of initial phone call, phone interview, having them fill out an application with questions that are important to you, doing a social media check, doing a background check, doing a in-person interview, doing a working interview, putting them through a training. Like, if you have that level of discipline, you're going to get great results. I think a lot of people get comfortable when they have somebody that they hear or know, and they don't want to put them through that process. And I'm thinking, well, what favor are you doing for that person? And how excited are they going to be to actually really work alongside you? And like, when are you actually going to develop the muscle of learning how to do that? Even if it's with somebody that it's going to be
100%.
harder to, so I think in any case, the first thing you need to do is outline what that process for you looks like. Even though it might make sense, you might meet the person or talk to them on the phone from a reference and they might sound good. Biggest mistake you can make is saying these words: hey, can you come in tomorrow? That is something that I think, again, I look at it like this: if the barrier to entry is low, then the barrier to exit is going to be low. And
Right.
people who cherish opportunity are ones that have earned the opportunity, right? If you bought
Right.
yourself a really nice car from your sweat equity and all the hard work that you did, and it was something that you really wanted and you achieved it, you probably wash it every now and again, don't you?
Right. Right. I
Same
get it.
thing. It's about motivation. So, that's my suggestion, is just create that process, and see it all the way through and get practice in doing that. But again, you have some leverage here, Aaron. I'm just saying, you have those jobs lined up. My thing is, you definitely want to start, once you get that person in, you definitely want to start trying to find your own jobs under your own resources. And I think you'll
Do
definitely.
have a question for you.
Sure.
So I have been um, doing cabinets now through just word of mouth. A cabinet maker right in my own town has been bringing me cabinets to spray in my shop. Is that outside my niche, in your opinion?
So you're doing cabinets, and
Right.
you do have a shop.
Yeah. At my house.
Oh, your house. Okay. And you have a cabinet maker that's bringing in doors for you to
No,
spray.
not doors. The whole thing. He'll bring me a whole kitchen,
What?
all the lowers, all the uppers, and I'll put it. I've got an 8-foot island in my shop right now, which is a bunch, and I spray it, and he comes and gets it.
Um, I mean, I don't think it's outside your niche. I think you can be an interior painting company and a cabinet company, but you can also be just a cabinet refinishing company and specialize. I feel like if you do interior painting and you do interior cabinets, you're not a specialist. It's just my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong,
Okay.
but
Well, because
there's
I don't want to spread myself too thin.
well, it sounds
And
like that's
one of
spreading yourself too thin for sure.
okay,
But I
because I can
again,
spray
like
cabinets and
if our
have
goal, here's the thing,
my
Aaron.
goal, my go ahead.
No, what's your goal? I want to hear it.
My goal is to have a team of 2 or 4 people that I can put on a job and have one of them be a team leader. And I can spray cabinets and develop the cabinet division, but I can manage both because spraying a whole kitchen doesn't take a whole week.
What kitchen do you know that doesn't take a whole week?
Well, when they drop it off in your shop,
Oh, well, that's different. I'm when you're doing real cabinet business, I mean,
oh,
like a real,
absolutely, absolutely, that
yeah,
takes a
like
whole week.
that's usually
Absolutely.
takes about a week. But let me put it this way. The idea is good. You can create a team of 3, 4 to actually hammer out interior paint jobs. And then at your house, if somebody drops off a cabinet to you and you want to knock that out and maybe build something on the side to grow that into a division, sure. The thing about it is that you're going to be stretched too thin anytime you actually have paint on your hands or any other hammer, or of course you're going to be stretched
Right.
too thin. There's sales and marketing that needs to be being done that won't be done during the time that you're doing that. There's networking
Got
that
it.
needs to be done. There's management that needs to be had. There's opportunity that needs to be garnished. And any time that you find yourself with a mask on and you're spraying or you're brushing or you're rolling or you're cutting or you're doing whatever, that's time just taking away from the growth part of business as a whole. And
Got it.
what you're doing is fulfillment. So Amazon fulfillment, the warehouse, you're in the warehouse. The actual
Got it.
sales and the growth is happening on the website, online. Like that's just an analogy, but that's just how I want you to see it because that's what it means. So
I
build
get
the
it.
business,
I
yeah,
get it.
build the interior side, and then I'd love to see what you could do with cabinets. You're gonna learn the same principles, and you're gonna have a cabinet team, and but there's a big need for cabinet refinishing, and I'm sure you know that.
Right.
I'm sure
Right.
you know that.
Well,
But,
that's why it fall in my lap. But
yeah, I mean,
I
it's just
completely understand it takes a week when I go to somebody's house and then I pull the
so what
doors
is
and
let me
drawers.
ask you this. Was this helpful? Like did you have any other outstanding questions about? Because right now, I mean, you have a good setup, man. I mean, I really don't see anything major. You're doing the right thing. You're just a month into this, almost a little over a
Yeah.
month. You've already generated some money. The only issue I see here is that, are you going to do this hiring process? Are you going to really, you know, take on this role of a employer and bring in these individuals, train them like you want them to be trained? And my only thing, I'm a little weary when you have a unilateral lead source right now, and you've got to know how, like, because right now if that guy pulls out, you're kind of in the woods. So we want to make sure
Oh,
that you just at least know the strategy of generating your own leads. And
no, I get it. He's actually referred me to several other companies. So I'm
okay, good.
doing work for more than just him. Something else that I've targeted is realtors. For whatever reason, I've got a bunch of friends that are realtors, and
Perfect.
everybody buying a house or selling a house wants to paint a room that was cool when they painted it, but now that orange or red isn't.
Right.
So that has really helped. Like right now, I'm on a job that's taken 5 weeks for the restoration company,
Right.
which takes a minute, and that takes a minute for cash flow. However, I've taken a day or two a week off from this job to go do an instantaneous job where I get a deposit and I get anywhere from 30 to 50% down and balance upon completion. So that's helped keep me afloat.
No, that's no, that and I just, like, for me, that consistency is great, man. Like, I look at your situation, I think like you should be ready to hire now. And you
Okay.
have, because typically when I give advice, I'm like, all right, well, I know you want to hire, but you've got to have some consistency on the production side to at least, or create the consistency. You have it, man. Like, so each day that you don't hire, you're wasting the opportunity to, it's like perfect situation you got right now, man. I think if you could put out an ad today and see if you can start lining up some interviews and just see what that feels like, man. Just put it out there on Indeed, see what you get in return. And then
Okay.
and then just go through the process, man. I have a bunch of content on that hiring process that I like. I'll share with you my hiring course. I'll give it to you. And if
I
you want to,
appreciate it.
yeah, if you want to run through that,
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, run through that. It'll give you some insight on how to set it up, and you'll be good, man. I would love to talk with you after you get this hire, because this is the only thing stopping you right now. Is just seeing what it looks like to have a team. And I think
Right.
once you get that, we can really hammer out marketing, because I don't even want to talk marketing with you because you already have steady work. So even if
Right.
you were really good at marketing and you got in a bunch, you brought in a bunch of leads. I mean, it's not really like you can't take the jobs because you already have
I'm in
jobs.
a very unique position.
Hey, I like
I
that.
got
That's good.
super lucky
But
because I've got, like you said, I've got
but
steady, consistent work. And
don't
if I
but
got
here's
more work, I can't do it.
if I've learned anything in business, Aaron, anything, it's do not get comfortable. There were times where I had a bunch of work and I got comfortable and that work started running out and I
Right.
didn't proactively find work when I didn't dig my well before I was thirsty, right? So when it became
Right.
time, I was in a panic. And this happened a couple times. So I learned, dude, when my schedule is 2 months out, I double down on my marketing. I want to be 3 months out. I want to be 4 months out if I have to. And that means that I need to speed up my production, maybe hire a couple more people to help hammer through some of the demand. But my thing is
Right.
like you're in a comfortable position right now. You're at a pivotal time in your business. Get some people in there, make mistakes. Don't worry about the money right now. And you'll find yourself maybe in a year from now on top of a company that's doing between 600 and 750,000 in a year.
That's my goal.
And at that time, you should hire a bookkeeper because it's way too much to keep up with.
You're right.
All right, man. Well, was that helpful today?
Very helpful. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna send you a text message with the link to the hiring course.
I really appreciate that. I
Thanks, Aaron,
do
for
have
jumping on,
a
man. Yeah,
question for you about drip jobs.
sure.
Uh, I looked at your video demo yesterday.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
Cool.
I liked it a lot. I'm using an invoicing app right now. And when I send an invoice, it allows me to send an invoice to multiple people in the company because I have to send it to the job soup and the accounting person. It
Okay.
lets me know when they've looked at it. The strip
Okay.
jobs do that.
It does. Yeah. It sounds like
So,
are you using a program called Joist?
no, I'm using Annex.
Okay. Yeah. So Drip Jobs, yeah, we do have the ability for you to send anything you need to whoever you need to send it to. Track your jobs, manage your progress. It sends follow-ups automatically.
Does it let you know if they've viewed the invoice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd have to set up a time, man. I'd love to sit down with you. And I'll walk you through it. I think it's the best way to do it. So, I mean, I
Okay.
could say, hey, sign up, but I'd prefer you let me show you kind of some things and we can listen. I can listen to what you really need in your business.
Perfect.
And then I could be like, okay, yeah, this is gonna work. So yeah,
Okay.
let's set that up. I'll send you a link if you want to book a demo with me.
Absolutely.
All right, Aaron. Thanks so much, man. I'll catch up with you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, my friend. See you.
Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Dripjobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo, and get your team involved, and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Dripjobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com. And we will give you first priority being a podcast listener to be one of the very first to try out Dripjobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.